Let's get you some more analysis on developments in the C.A.R. I'm now joined in studio by Mbijiwe Mwenda. He's a security expert and trainer with the Iron Security. It's a private security firm here in Kenya. He's also an ex-military officer from the Kenyan Defence Forces. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.
We've gotten reports of clashes between Burundian and Chadian forces in the C.A.R. Ideally, these two should be peacekeeping, maintaining order and security. What would lead to something like this in a peacekeeping mission?
I think it's taking these troops to the war zone without adequately preparing them psychologically. So they get to the war zone and they begin to suffer traumatic experiences. They see people hacking them, others to death, seeing dead bodies all over the streets, and all that kind of traumatic experiences. And unfortunately, such troops have not been prepared adequately. That's why Kenya, they started a school in Embakasi. Before troops are dispatched to any UN peacekeeping mission, they are taken through training and almost real-time experiences that they'll find at the war zone, so that they do not suffer an indiscipline. I also think, however, that there's an indiscipline problem. When troops go and fight each other, it doesn't matter what you have seen, you are duty-bound not to do it.
Indeed, but we're also seeing a situation here where the Central African Republic's chaos is fragmenting along religious lines. Now, if you have troops operating in that sort of environment, how do you avoid being seen as being biased to one side or the other?
Exactly, and that's what I think has contributed to the problem of the question that you asked, the first question. I think these troops have gone over there and may have suffered the same religious biases that the citizens have been going through. And unfortunately, that should not happen. In our country in 2007, we went through a post-election violence, but our troops, the police, were disciplined enough not to take sides. In the police and in the military, there are people from the communities that were killing each other and fighting, but they didn't take sides. They are duty-bound and discipline-bound to do this. So if any troops have done that, they should face an international court-martial, where they should be court-martialed for going to a war zone and creating more war, even through themselves.
Let's pull back a bit and look at this from the perspective of the available military forces in Africa. Are we adequately prepared to deal with peacekeeping duties collectively, if you look at the 50-plus armies that we have across Africa?
Unfortunately, we are not. And I hope we can now realize that in this generation, we cannot allow nations to become banana nations while other nations are watching. I hail the president of Rwanda, President Kagame, and the president of Uganda, President Museveni, for sending their troops. Museveni has already sent his troops to South Sudan. President Kagame has sent his troops already to C.A.R. And he said, we will never allow another Burundi to happen in Africa. I need Africa
another
needs to,
Rwanda.
Another Rwanda to happen in Africa. I think we need to prepare African nations for the kind of situation that may eventually happen in some of our nations. Somalia should now begin to prepare itself for a situation like we have seen in South Sudan. And the president of Somalia should take lessons from South Sudan right now and realize there are people who don't want peace in any nation. They want war so that they can benefit from it. The terrorism problem in Somalia notwithstanding, really, we need to take big lessons, and Africa should be prepared for this kind of situations.
I mean, in East Africa, for example, you've got the East African Standby Brigade. The African Union has also spoken of setting up standby forces to deal with these kind of firefights. Yeah. Why aren't those particular forces active?
Actually, yeah, there was also the suggestion to make one, the one called Rapid Response Force in Africa.
Yeah.
But the problem is they are not funded. These people, they talk big, they don't give their money. Somalia, for the longest, that nation has been crying, give us troops. The nations in Africa said we will, but no one did, until Kenya and a few nations, Sierra Leone and a few others, have sent their troops there, but these troops have no funding. The United Nations and African Union need to sit down, put money together for these kind of operations, and prepare these armies. These armies should do exercises together. They should be able to synchronize their commands so that we do not have another Westgate crisis kind of a situation where commands from South African troops, commands from Kenyan troops, so command from Ethiopian troops, they are all crashing because there is no coordinated command.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for your time this evening, Mr. Mbijiwe Mwenda, security expert, of course, and a former officer in the Kenyan Defence Forces.